Now we all know that the Euro 2021 is coming up this summer, and I'm in desperate need of content. So I decided to make a series out of it. Okay, so in this series, I will predict the score of each and every game, and then the winner of the tournament. Then I will analyze those results, and I will do a forfeit based on how wrong I was after the tournament is done. And then, with the help of a friend, I will recreate the top 10 goals of the tournament. So, Group A, we're going to start with Group A. Group A is an interesting one because the favorites are obviously Italy, but Switzerland, Turkey, Wales, all solid teams, especially Turkey. Turkey has a really good collective team, and Italy has had shit years. 2016, 2018, both shit years for Italy, but I do think they're going to make a comeback. Now, in the first game, Turkey versus Italy, usually the first game, it's the first game of the tournament, the favorite always wins. So I'm going to give this one to Italy, 3-1, I'm going to give it. The Wales-Switzerland one, two solid teams, just give it a tie, 1-1. Turkey and Wales, I think Turkey is going to take this one. And Italy-Switzerland, I think Italy is going to take this one, 3-0, easy. Switzerland versus Turkey, I think this is going to be a really tough one. They're both really good collective teams. No insane individual talents like teams such as France or Spain have, or England. But overall, very good teams. I'm going to give it 2-2. I think a lot of goals are going to be scored in this group. And then Italy-Wales, the game doesn't really matter at this point. We already know Italy won and Wales will finish last. So, I don't think it will be much of a game, so I'm just going to give it 0-0. Okay, so for Group B, I think Belgium will carry this group. They are obviously the favorites. I'm not saying it will be easy, but I think they will. The real battle would be for second place and potentially the best third place, which will also be qualified. Because Russia and Denmark are both very solid teams, not extraordinary young or experienced talents, maybe Eriksson. But despite that, I think it will be an interesting competition to watch. So the first game, Denmark versus Finland, the Scandinavian battle, I think it's just going to be a simple 1-1 tie. And then Belgium versus Russia, I think Belgium will do great this tournament. Finland versus Russia, I think Finland will take a fat L. 2-0, Russia is just overpowering Finland. Denmark versus Belgium, I think this could be a surprise. I don't know, it's my gut feeling. I know a lot of people will disagree. I kind of disagree with myself, but gut feeling, I gotta follow it. And then Russia versus Denmark, I do think Russia will come out on top. They're just, I don't know, gut feeling sometimes, just you gotta follow it. And then Finland versus Belgium, no surprise here. I think Belgium will carry this 2-0. Okay, now Group 3. It's not the best group in terms of team, but it's a very unstable one. It all depends, in my opinion, it all depends on Ukraine's performance and whether they will be able to overpower Austria. Of course, Netherlands are favorites, and Macedonia will probably finish last. Austria, I believe, will beat Macedonia a comfortable lead, even though Macedonia, in my opinion, could score goals. Austria is a very solid team in general. Netherlands, I think, will overpower Ukraine, not by a large margin, just a 2-1 margin there. But Ukraine will beat Macedonia 4-0. I think will be the best result of this group. Followed by Netherlands versus Austria, another important game. I think also Netherlands will take this one 2-1, like they did against Ukraine. And Macedonia versus Netherlands. I think Netherlands are once again going to win 2-1. So very consistent results for the Netherlands. Fortunately, Macedonia will not win games, but I think it's a pretty good performance versus teams such as Austria or the Netherlands. And then Ukraine, Austria, the real shocker here. I think it will end in a 2-2 tie. On to Group D. A very interesting group here was not only the Battle of the Brits between England and Scotland, but also a potential revenge from the 2018 World Cup for the Three Lions against Croatia. And also a solid Czech Republic squad to potentially upset one of the favorites, being England and Croatia. So here are my predictions. I think England will come back and beat Croatia 2-1, the same score Croatia beat them in the 2018 World Cup. And then Scotland, Czech Republic, I think a 1-1 tie is a reasonable score here. Croatia, Czech Republic, though, I think Croatia will easily take this. I don't see Croatia as an amazing team this year, but I still think they're one of the favorites to qualify in this group. And then followed by this, I think we'd have a wonderful England-Scotland game with a massive score. I put 5-3 down, but whatever the score ends up being, I expect it to be a large one. And then Croatia, Scotland, I think Croatia will take this one too. And Czech Republic, England, I think another good game for England, intense game with a 3-2 W. So a lot of goals in this group, probably the most goals scored in any group, according to my predictions. Now on to Group E, another very interesting group here with, I believe, two potential cup winners, being Poland and Spain. And then Sweden also has great potential of qualifying out the group. I don't think they'll win this cup or have a chance of winning the cup, but they have a chance of qualifying out of the group. So yeah, this will be a very interesting one. And the first game, Poland versus Slovakia, no surprise here. I think Poland and Lewandowski will have a good game here, beating Slovakia 2-0. Then Spain, I believe, will pull out a wonderful game versus Sweden. I believe this year is the comeback for Spain. They have a solid squad. I think this could be it. And then Sweden, Slovakia, same score here, 3-0. And then Spain, Poland, the shocker of this group. I want to give this one to Poland. I think Poland will also shine this year. I think the two teams will have a wonderful year. And then followed is Sweden versus Poland. I think this one will be a 2-2. Slovakia versus Spain. No surprise here. Unfortunately for Slovakia, Spain will take this one 3-1. And then the final group, Group F. What a group this is! We have 3 of the favorites to win this World Cup. Portugal, who won the last, no, not World Cup, Euro Cup. Portugal, who won the last one in 2016 in France. Germany, who many of their players are considered young talents. Thinking, of course, of Havertz, of Kimmich, etc. And then, of course, France, world champions, and it's obviously my team as I am French myself. I tried to be, when I made these predictions, as open-minded and as fair as I could be. So here goes. Hungary, solid team. Don't think they'll make anything happen in this group. Just level is too high for them. France versus Germany. This was a complicated one for me because my gut's telling me Germany's going to win. But at the same time, I have a feeling that France also, they need to make an entrance. They are world champions after all. And I think that pressure will force them to take, they have to take the dub in that game. So I think they will win, even though it will be a very narrow game. Followed by Hungary versus France. I don't think this should be an issue for France whatsoever. 3-0. Portugal versus Germany. For me, the most interesting game of this group. And I think Germany will take the dub in this one. 2-1. I do think Portugal could potentially win the entire cup once again. I don't think it's ever been done before, winning it 2 times in a row, but I think they could. And I think they also could beat France in the next game, 1-0, exactly like they did in the Euro 4 years earlier, which I sadly remember. And then Germany, Hungary. I think Hungary could pull out something amazing here. We've seen Germany struggle. We've seen Germany struggle against North Macedonia. We've seen Germany struggles against a lot of smaller teams that they should be beating by large margins. And I think this will be the same thing here. I think it will be a tie, 1-1. Okay, so now let's look at the tables for each and every one of this group. Group A. Italy takes first place. I expected this. What I didn't expect here, Turkey taking second place, that I expected. What I didn't expect here is Wales to beat Switzerland in goal difference. Could happen. I think my predictions were wrong here. I pray they are not, because I do not want to do any forfeits. Group B. As I expected here, Belgium taking first place, but same only on goal difference, tied with Russia in points. Russia taking second place, and then Denmark taking third place, and Finland taking last with a point. I think this is a reasonable prediction right there. I think this one is one of the most likely to actually happen out of all of the groups. Group C. I don't exactly trust myself on this one. Netherlands 9 points. I feel like that's a lot. I feel like they might end up with 7 actually, and maybe tie against Ukraine or Austria. But individually, like each score individually, I believe myself. Followed by Ukraine and Austria tied in points. Ukraine only taking second place in goal difference. And Macedonia will take fourth place. I don't think they'll get any points, I'll be honest. They had a good run. They beat Germany. They had their moment of glory, but it has to come to an end. And then Group D. One of the most interesting groups was England, Croatia. England taking first place, 9 points. I think England has a very solid squad. A great defense and a great offense. Lacking a bit in the midfield, if you ask me, but still. And then Croatia, second place in last year's World Cup. This should be a solid prediction. Scotland, Czech Republic, both eliminated, third and fourth place. And then followed by Group E, one of the tightest groups. Poland managed to take the first place with 7 points. Reasonable, in my opinion. Spain taking second place. Yeah, sounds good to me. And then Sweden probably qualifies as one of the best third places, and Slovakia with 0 points. Like North Macedonia, good run, Good run, but I don't think it will be enough to beat giants such as Spain and Poland. And then Group F. Now, this is going to make me look bad because, as you know, I am a French supporter, but France ends up first. And it's tight. It's tight. They are on the same point as Portugal. They both have 6 points. They only beat them by goal difference. And I do believe Portugal could take first place because France-Hungary, it's a 3-0 win. It's a 3-0 win. It could very well be a 1-0 win. And then France and Portugal are tied on goal difference. And Portugal would even actually take the first place for number of goals scored. And then Germany, third place. Very close, though. I think they could potentially be best third place. So qualified for the next round. And then Hungary, only 1 point. Not they just got unlucky. In my opinion, they got the worst poll because ending up versus the 3 favorites to win this cup is just blatantly unlucky. Okay, so now we move on to the elimination rounds. So round of 16s, quarterfinal, etc. I calculated the best third place that are going to be qualified. They're going to be, I believe, Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Sweden. So, first game, Turkey versus Russia. I'm going to give this one to Turkey, and I'm going to give it a 1-0 dub. Followed by the Netherlands-Sweden game to see who will meet Turkey in the quarterfinals. I'm going to give this one to the Netherlands. Pretty obvious for now. I'm going to give it also a 1-0 dub. The England-Portugal game. Now, this is an interesting round of 16s. I didn't expect this to happen, but it did. And I'm going to give it to England because I think England does have just an amazing squad. I think they're going to beat Portugal 2-0. And then the Austria versus Poland game, just probably the worst game of this round of 16s. I'm going to give it to Poland 2-1. Germany-Belgium game. Probably this one is the most interesting game. It's like 2 really high-level teams playing against each other. I'm going to give this one to Germany, but only on penalties. I think it's going to be a 1-1 ties, 2 teams fighting for their survival. Italy, Ukraine. I think this is going to be a dub for Italy. Obviously, they were the favorites of the groups, and I think they're going to be the favorites here. Followed by the France-Denmark game. Obviously, France favorites, and I obviously think France is going to win. Denmark is nowhere near France's level. And I'm going to give it a 2-1. 2-1 sounds like a good result. France and Denmark have actually played each other a lot. 2014, 2018. They're in the same group at the World Cups, and there again. Croatia versus Spain. I think this is going to be a Spain dub. Croatia had a wonderful World Cup, but I think it's an old story, an old team now. Now on to the quarterfinals. Turkey versus Netherlands. I think pretty obviously this one is going to go to the Netherlands because, most importantly, of Depay, who's been carrying the team for the past 2 months, especially in the preparation games. Right now, as I'm recording this, they played 2 preparation games, and in those 2 preparation games, Depay scored 3 goals. 3 goals in 2 games. Very impressive. England, Poland. I think England is going to beat Poland because I was thinking about Lewandowski, but I think still England's going to beat Poland. But you know what? I'm just going to put it on penalties. Germany versus Italy. Germany just keeps getting the hard games. I mean, Germany versus Belgium, Germany versus Italy, and if they win, it's either Germany versus France or Germany versus Spain. But I do not think they will beat Italy. Italy is just has a lot to prove, and I think Italy's going to win this one. Not by a large margin. I think 2-1 sounds like a good result. And then France versus Spain. It's going to sound like I'm being pro-France, but honestly, just France is such a better team compared to Spain. They just have the best players in the world. I'd say out of the top 5 players in the world today, I think 3 of them are with France. Okay, maybe not top 5, but top 6. And so I'm going to give this one 2-1 W for France. Now, semifinals. Let's see who will be playing in the finals. Netherlands versus England. Now, I was chatting really good about Netherlands just a second before, talking about the pie. But still, I think England just has an overall better squad. They just have an amazing defense, amazing attack. Sterling, Kane, etc. Rashford. I'm going to just give this one to England. And I'm going to give it a 3-2 W. I think a lot of goals in this game. I don't know why. I'm just feeling. And then Italy versus France. I think this... You're once again going to call me, like, pro-France, but just... I know Italy beat Germany, but I think a miracle can't happen twice. So I think France is going to beat Italy 2-1. So the final will be England versus France. Unfortunately for me, I think England is going to take the dub here. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. Really do. I really want France to win this year, win the Euro right after they win the World Cup like they did in 2000. But I just don't think it will happen. I think England is coming home for England, I think. And I'm going to give this one a 1-0 dub. But it will be painful if this happens, to lose the Euro 2 times in a row, in 2016 against Portugal and then here against England. So I really hope it doesn't happen. But here it is. So our winner is England, second place France. And then I'd say, I don't know if there is a third place game, but I think if there is a third place game, Italy will take third place.